As you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be doing the Midyear Freakout Tag. I was tagged to do this, and I was tagged to do this, and my brain is evading me who tagged me because I'm tired. But I'll shout you out down below. And thank you, because it was a reminder to me to do this tag. I had already planned to do it. I do it annually, and yeah, this Midyear Freakout Tag for 2024 for me, it's going to be kind of sparse. I say sparse. Sparse. I don't know. Because my reading has slowed down a lot this year. I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Alana. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, we predominantly review books. So with that out of the way. My reading has slowed down a lot this year. No regrets. Let's dive into the books. That's what we're here for. Best book I've read so far in 2024. I'm not going to hold the books up because they're all scattered all over the house. I'm probably just going to put images up here. That's what I'm going to do. Right now, I'm going to say The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. Incredible. I still need to review it. I'm currently reading, and I'm more than halfway through, A Fine Balance. That is going to be I know that's going to be a 5-star read. But because I haven't finished it yet, I'm going to have to say The Myth of Sisyphus. Best sequel I've read so far. Well, I read the third Outlander, but that's not a sequel. That's a trilogy. Like at that point, it would make it a trilogy, even though there are books beyond it. And I am also reading the last installment of the Wolfden trilogy by Eloise Harper. But I'm going to have to go with Clash of Kings. This is right here, so let's lift this up. Clash of Kings. Which is the sequel to Game of Thrones, and I really enjoyed it. It was just a fun read, and it's always a fun read. I mean, come on, it's iconic for a reason. So yeah, I'm going to say that. New release you haven't read yet but want to. Coco Mellors, the author of Cleopatra and Frankenstein, released Blue Sisters this May, and I ordered it from the UK because Alana was not fitting to wait for that to come to the United States. Especially in paperback. United States publishers, can we please overwhelmingly get paperbacks and hardbacks at the same time? Your girl likes a good paperback. I'm not into hardbacks. Not too much, okay? I have small hands. The small hands, honey. Your girl needs a paperback. It makes it easier. All right. But I went on and ordered that from the UK. And I'm excited to read that. And my goal is to read Blue Sisters this summer. Biggest disappointment, Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. Throw it away. This is going to be a quick video. I'm going right through. Biggest surprise. Because again, I have maybe read 10 to 12 books, if that, this year. Biggest surprise. Because I'm reading less, everything is even more just like curated and handpicked, and I've really enjoyed everything I've read except Earthlings. But you know what? I have this right here. The House on Sun Street, which I'm going to do a review for. This was such a joy to read, and man, this woman is a beautiful storyteller. Beautiful. And there was something about reading this book, even though it's set in the Iranian Revolution. There is still, she touches on some topics that are not easy, and it can be brutal at times, but not in a graphic way. But there was still something really warm about this story, and so I'm going to say The House on Sun Street. And also, I want to say that because I don't see people talking about this book, so let's hype up books that need more recognition. Favorite new author, debut, or new to you? Albert Camus is new to me. That was the Myth of Sisyphus. That was his tongue twister. Myth of Sisyphus. The Myth of Sisyphus. Bruh. My first time reading Camus. Let's do that because that is going to be a top read of the year. Newest fictional crush. Nobody. I don't really have fictional crushes. There are characters that I admire and like, yeah, this is a great character, but fictional crushes, I'm not. I say this every year I do this. I'm like, I'm too old for fictional crushes, to be frank, okay? Even as I will say this, even as a young person, I wasn't really a person that a teenager or a preteen who had crushes too much on celebrities or anything like that. I can't be crushing on somebody I don't know, right? They don't know. Let me put it this way: I can't be crushing on somebody that doesn't know I breathe air. Now, I don't know you. Like, you don't know I breathe air. Like, nah. Newest favorite character. Ooh. Sorry, I gotta. Newest favorite character. I'm gonna say the four main characters in a fine balance. I'm cheating a little bit there, but the four, especially Dina. Let's say Dina. She's hasty sometimes in her anger and her frustrations in a fine balance, but she's really like a softie on the inside, and I relate to that. Harder exterior sometimes, maybe it takes a little bit of time to like break through, but she's really a softie on the inside. Dina in a fine balance. Book that made you cry in 2024? Zero. The Bible. I take that back. The Bible. I read a passage in Luke as of the recording last night, and it was about anxiety and why you don't have to worry about things in your life. And I choked up. I did, because it was on time. He may not always come, God, when you want him to, but he'll be there right on time. That passage in Luke 12, verses 20, I want to say 21 to 30 something. It's a whole passage about not worrying and anxiety. And it hit. I've read it multiple times in my life, and it really hit last night on June 28th. Yeah. Book that made you happy. I was immediately going to say Heaven, Miyoga Kawakami. That book didn't make me happy. It's a great book. All right. I did read that this year and I really enjoyed it, but maybe I was happy to read it in the sense that I really enjoy Miyoga Kawakami, but books that make you happy, not Heaven by Miyoga Kawakami. That's a brutal read. A book that made me happy. So far in 2024, I might have said 2023, but I meant 2024. I'm going to say Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. It's always a joy for me to read an Outlander book because it's pure escapism. I love the main characters because they're so flawed, but they're so relatable and they're really funny. Like, Diana Gabaldon is subtly funny. Jamie in particular is hysterical. He is got this dry humor that I really appreciate. And so I'm going to say that even though there are times in the plot you're like, that's brutal. But overall, it's a joy to read. And so I'm going to go with Voyager. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. Like I said, I've only purchased 4 books thus far. This one might be my favorite cover. I was going to say Blue Sisters by Coco Mellor, but I'm going to show that later. This one I like for its simplicity. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I really like this cover. The red spine, penguin edition. And slim little volume. This is my favorite. Okay, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I am going to get up. I have a stack of books across the way from me, sitting in a chair. Let's move these here. But again, like I've been saying, I did a quarter year reading wrap up or update, and I said I'm reading even less. Again, it's just because work is busy, and there are things, it's just sometimes, I'm just not in a season of life where I can compulsively read. I'm actually reading at a normal pace, and I cannot shout this from the rooftops enough. How you see people reading typically on Instagram, TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. TikTok is a cesspool, okay? And YouTube, when they do these massive, what I read this month, and they're reading like 10 books. That is not normal, okay? And like, you know what's normal? It's taken me the whole month of June to get just past the halfway point of A Fine Balance. That's a 600-page book. That's normal. And so for some people, even slower than that is normal. So let me just highlight the books here that without a shadow of a doubt, by the end of 2024, I want these books read. This is even smaller than the last one, the last list. But, you know, my books aren't going anywhere. I'm going to pick them up as I'm able to pick them up. The Idiot by Dostoevsky. I miss my boy D-Money. I need him back in my life. And I need to read The Idiot. East of Eden by my boy John Steinbeck. Absolutely, I got to read him. Okay, let me go across the way and get this stack real quick. And I'll go through these. Because some of these, some of these are pending. They're coming up next after I finish A Fine Balance and the last book in the Wolf Den trilogy. Okay, I've returned. Okay. And the earth will sit on the moon. Gogol. I have a collection of stories. Pushkin Press by Gogol. A Pushkin Press collection of Gogol stories. Some of his short stories. And, I gotta read this. And I have a bookish acquaintance who, I believe she's Russian. And she was like, you gotta read Gogol. She's like, I think you'll really, really get on with him. Correct me if I'm wrong. Gogol's actually Ukrainian. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Ukrainian. He's not alive. But yeah. Gogol. And this won't take me any time to get through. As you can tell, Pushkin Press has these little petite editions and, tabs. There's really not too many words on each page. I'll get that later. I thought that was a fly. It was my neighbor weed whacking. Another small little volume. People tend to get a kick of how I just throw my books. It's a book, not the Mona Lisa. Francois Sagan. Francois Sagan. Sagan. I don't have very good French. Now Spanish, I can roll the Mars player. My French pronunciations are not good. Again, a slim volume. And I think this will be a good summer read. This is the book that was sent to me by K Publicity, and I have read Daphne Suman before. Summer Heat is her newest release. And man, I really enjoyed Daphne Suman. And she has another English release that I think was released last year or in 2022. And I didn't get to that one. But when K Publicity asked me if I wanted to snag this one, I said absolutely. And I will prioritize that because it was given to me. The Story of a New Name, second installment of Elena Ferrante's Neapolitan Quartet. What is it called? Oh my gosh, my brain is blanking. My Brilliant Friend. My Brilliant Friend was one of my top reads of 2023. So I do want to sneak this one in if I can. We'll see. We're halfway through the year. We'll see. Ooh, Lonesome Dove. I really want to read this one. It's thick. Got a lot of words in it, but I really want to read this one. Coco Meller's Blue Sisters. I already mentioned this. Stunning cover. This is a book that wouldn't take me very long to get through. And because that's one of the only books that I purchased this year, I purchased books that I know I'm going to read this year. Like, for example, I did purchase the last installment of the Wolf Den trilogy. I'm already reading it, and I have like 100 and something pages left. Marcus Aurelius, I'm kind of trying to look up. Marcus Aurelius, I just saw the cover and needed it in that moment. And Blue Sisters, only books I've purchased that I will read. Helen Gardner's Monkey Grip. This was sent to me by Penguin, and I agreed to take it back in November of 2023, and they shipped it out, and I received it in February. So again, I agreed to take it. I'm going to read it. So I have this one pending. This is what's pending. Yeah, a very condensed list overall. If you've seen any of my other versions of this tag from previous years, but you know what? It is what it is. Your reading and your hobby should cycle as your life cycles, and that's just what's happening. I have been actually knitting a lot more, though. My knitting took a back seat for years. I would say the end of 2021, my knitting slowed down a lot. And one reason why I enjoy knitting so much is because it's very binary. It's almost a version of coding. You could look at the two basic stitches of knitting and think of it as the 1 and the 0. And when you mix up that 1 and that 0, you get really interesting things that start to happen in patterns and cables or whatever. And so for me, I am an artistic person, and even at a young age, I was sketching and drawing and watercoloring, and I played music for a little bit. I dance recreationally. And for me, knitting is that outlet because it allows for me to play with color and texture, and I can come up with my own patterns. And believe it or not, most people don't know this. Now you do. I wanted to be a fashion designer at one point in my life because I would sit and I would sketch. I had these ideas, again, playing with color and pattern and texture. And knitting is a way for me to get that out of my system because I'm playing with color and I'm playing with texture, different types of fibers. And again, I like to design my own hats. But when I was young and I started to research the fashion industry, I realized I wanted nothing to do with it. But if I don't have a creative outlet when it comes to actually touching texture and playing with color, I feel like I'm in a bit of a fog. And so I've been taking from my reading a little bit to knit a little bit more. And my favorite time to knit actually is a couple days a week after I return home from work. So I am a hybrid worker. I do work from home some days and I go into the office. And on those days when I come back from the office, believe it or not, I'm very introverted. I'm not shy. People think that introverts are shy. Those two don't always correlate. I'm not shy, obviously. But it is very draining to be around stimulus all day. And so I realized that when I try to come home from those work days and try to sit and read, my brain was too keyed up. So now I've filled that in with knitting to sit down and it's very soothing for me. And so that's how I'm able to knit a lot more. And it's balanced out my hobbies a bit more. So there you go. That's me having a tangent. How has your reading been going for 2024? Anybody else think this year has been weird? Okay. How's your reading been going? Please tell me your favorite book that you've read thus far in 2024. I would like to know. Please feel free to subscribe. As I said, please leave me a comment. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram where I get up to more book shenanigans. I post all of my bookish content there first. I post once a week, typically on a Sunday, and occasionally I post goofy things in the Instagram stories because I like a good laugh. And a lot of it has nothing to do with books. I'm posting fast cars and goofy animals and goofy reels that are relatable and memes. So there you go. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.